Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of A Splash of Paint, brought to you in association with the SAA. Today's programme is bursting with 60 colourful minutes of all the latest tips, demonstration and exercises to help inspire your artistic passion and encourage you to try something new. Let's get started and take a look at what creative treats are coming up on today's packed programme. Fraser Scarfe gets interactive with acrylics to create a stunning skyscape in today's Try Your Hand At project. We have a ball with leading wildlife artist Pip McGarry as he pops into the Splash of Paint studio to demonstrate how light can affect your final finished painting. And talking of light, we'll be shining the introducing spotlight on the work of SAA professional artist and teacher Gregory Wellman. Now it's time to sit back and enjoy part one of today's Try Your Hand At project. Let's go over to the other side of the studio and join former SAA Artist of the Year Fraser Scarfe as he demonstrates how to get interactive with acrylics and create your own stunning skyscape.
Thanks, Matthew. So what I'm going to do for you now is a quick sky study using Atelier Interactives. Now this is the sort of thing I might do before attempting a bigger painting, or to work ideas out in my head, see how things work on canvas before then going on to do a sort of final painting, if you like. So, got my pre-primed white canvas board here, and I'm very quickly want to get going, get something on here, get rid of the white. And the first thing I'm going to do is just put in the suggestion of where my horizon line is going to be in the picture. It's always a great help if you're doing a landscape painting to establish your sky and land ratios, I think, from the off, so that you can quite quickly get on with piecing together the painting as a whole. So in order to do that, I'm just going to very quickly mix up on my palette a colour that we can call a sort of a bluey grey horizon line. So I'm just using some Payne's grey, a touch of burnt umber, maybe a touch of phthalo blue. And at this point, it doesn't matter too much exactly what this colour looks like. It's really going to be just a guide for me. And then about 2/3 of the way down the canvas, I'm just going to think of putting in a suggestion of a horizon line. So I'm just very quickly going to run my brush over here. So for the sky, because I'm using acrylics, I want to get a nice kind of soft blended look, more like oil, I suppose. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually just cover this whole sky area in a layer of white paint. Now, there's a few reasons I'm doing that. Firstly, the white paint will act as a kind of base tone for me. So I'm just going to spray with my water mister just quickly over that whole sort of sky area. Got a nice big brush and I've loaded it up with titanium white, and I'm very quickly just going to cover this area here in a layer of white. And like I was saying, that's going to do a couple of things that will help me when I'm painting. Firstly, it's going to knock the intensity out of any colours that I apply to the sky. So the white will do that for me. What it will also do is it will give me a nice smooth surface to work onto, and that will help me blend my colours together. One of the problems with acrylics that people often talk to me about is the fact that they dry quickly and they find it difficult to blend colours together. Now, because I'm using the interactive acrylics, I have more time to work with the acrylics, and it sort of allows me to go into more depth when I'm doing sort of blending and things like that. So I've just very quickly covered this sky area, and what I'm going to then do is start to gradually introduce colours into this white base coat, blending them in as I go and building up the strength in the picture as I come forwards. First thing I want to do is establish where the areas of light blue sky are going to be. It's best to put those on first so that they sit behind any sort of brooding clouds or anything like that that you put into the picture. So what I'm going to do is just add a tiny amount of phthalo blue to the end of my brush here. And I'm just going to wipe off any excess. I'm literally looking for just the very sort of tip of my brush to be covered here. And what I can do is just go in and just put a few dabs of that blue into a few places in my sky here. And what I'm looking to do is just mark out roughly where some of the blues in my sky are going to be. And I can afford to do this with the acrylics because what I'll then do is go in and blend them out. But I can use the paint to sort of build up a picture of where things are going to go before actually painting them in. So I've got these blue dabs in, and then I'm going to give my brush and canvas a spray, and then I'm going to go in and just start to blend these areas of blue out. And what happens instantly is that this base layer of white that I did just knocks any sort of harshness out of that blue, stops it looking sort of too intense, too vibrant, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm just using my brush here, just working very quickly, you'll see, and just trying to blend this blue out as much as possible. And that white base layer just allows me to blend much more freely than if I was working straight onto the sort of canvas, as it were. So I'm just blending those areas of blue out. What I can also do with that blue is just go in perhaps down over my horizon line that I did initially, and just maybe knock that back slightly as well. So just taking some of that blue colour down over my horizon line. Now into that blue, what I want to do is start to build up some layers of clouds. Now these are going to get darker and more intense as the painting goes on. So just to start with, just as a sort of tester, I'm just going to grab a touch of burnt umber just on the end of my brush. As with the blue, it's quite a powerful colour, so I don't want a lot. So I'm just teasing a bit onto the end of my brush there. And then I'm just going to go in and just think about where the next sort of band of clouds are going to go. Now I have in mind, sort of while I'm painting, where these cloud shapes are going to be. So there's no need to sort of worry too much at this point about the sort of mapping out of things in too much detail. Certainly no need for any sort of pre-drawing or anything like that. Just really looking to block in the overall shapes. So I'm using that burnt umber. Then, as with blue, I'm going to spray my brush, and then I can go in and I can start to blend this paint out. So as with the blue, we're looking for a nice soft pale colour. And I'm just going to use my brush, use the shape of my brush to just blend very quickly. So that's the next sort of layer done. Then just to give that some real punch, I'm going to grab a bit of this colour, which is Payne's Grey. Payne's Grey is perfect for sort of broody skies or rain clouds, things like that. So I'm just going to grab some of that on my brush and just go in and really build up now some areas of real intensity in my sky. So just going in on top of these cloud shapes that I've just worked on with some of this Payne's Grey. And what I'm going to do is just start to think about now where I want the sort of weight to be in my clouds, where the heaviest parts of these clouds are going to be. So I'm just using the shape of the brush, thinking about my brush strokes, the direction of them. Want the sky to have a good sense of sort of weight and movement. So I'm just using that to build up these cloud shapes in my sky. So just using my brush to break up these cloud shapes. Just working very quickly. And I can always go back into these clouds later, unlock the paint with a touch of water, just make them sort of more intense in places if I need to. So there's no sort of pressure when you're using acrylics. You don't have to get it all right first time. You can afford to sort of edit as you go, as it were. So just some smaller strokes there towards my horizon line. So. Okay, so I'm going to leave those clouds there for now, and when we come back, I'll quickly block in this foreground and then just show you how to maybe warm up some areas in the sky and just pick out some highlights.
Fantastic approach there, Fraser. Remember, with Atelier Interactive, you can return to your work at any time, simply spray with water to unlock the acrylic and carry on painting. Can't wait to see the finished painting in part 2 later on in today's programme. Well, folks, it's time for us to take a short break now, but join us in part 2 when I'll be sharing a few more of my own simple tips to help you develop your painting techniques. We'll be having a ball with leading wildlife artist Pip McGarry as he pops into this splash of paint studio to demonstrate how light can affect your final finished painting. See you soon.